Bridgetown.
Bridgetown, okay.
Bridgetown. But we do have the records, and that's not a problem. I just don't recall at the moment. And then, of course, he left at an early age, of course.
Left Barbados, okay.
Left Barbados, and that's where we have to track him down from there on. But I learned in Barbados that his father was a fire and brimstone preacher, a very hard one, and had in fact been to South Africa for the Boer War, and came back and was a policeman, from what I understand. And this I learned from an elderly gentleman in Barbados. When I used to go there and lecture for the CBC. Now, the rest about father, I'm finding out, like any other scholar, digging and trying to, cross the T's and dot the I's, connecting the dots, so to speak. And the more I look, the more I find a lot of fascinating things. And they fit into the matrix of what we do know. And that has sort of discarded a lot of misconceptions that have developed, some very poor scholarship that has surfaced, very bad writing and opinionated writings, especially in the United States, where they associated him as being going to Chicago and becoming Muhammad Fard and so on and so forth. No attempt was being made to try to track his family down. So that shows that there was some shoddy scholarship taking place there. Now, once here, we learned a great deal about our father from the friends that he had here, like Dr. Martin, who's passed away. Most of them are passed by now. And we're sort of trying to catch up. There's one old man that I met at a mule and things of that nature. So things of that nature would help a lot. His connection here with the Ethiopian Falasha of the Beta Israel was basically through Tamrat Emanuel, that group, and also, of course, with Monica Wiggan and some of the others, and Kuntiva Gabru of Gondar. So that connection. But here...
That was in Gondar, not in
Gondar,
Addis. So he did travel to Gondar?
Yeah, he traveled to Gondar. But the center of activity was here in Addis Ababa. The times were not very favorable because there was a lot of pressure. The impending invasion of the Italians, the struggle internally and so forth, and all of that really did not give him any solid ground to rest upon. Plus the fact that a lot of his papers and things were lost in that period. So it was a very bad period for us. And after he passed away, of course, Mother had to then raise us. By the way, when the invasion was very much obvious, some of the people that came over with him, the Paris's included, were considering returning to the United States because of safety factors. At the time, our father was ill, very ill, and gravely ill. And Mother asked him what to do about safety of the children. Of course, he couldn't travel. And he made us swear to him that they had come to Ethiopia to become Ethiopians, and that had been accomplished. That being the case, she and her children would have to either survive with the Ethiopians or perish with the Ethiopians. And she gave her word, and that's why we stayed. And we were raised here. This is very instructive, of course. The rest is tracking down what Mother did and associating with what Father did. His main activities here had to do with counseling and advising the Ethiopian authorities that such constructs like the League of Nations were not to be trusted, and that there is solid history to show that that was not going to work, that they did not have the vested interest of Ethiopia at hand, not to put much stock into that, And there were a small rebel group like Dr. Martin and Tablat and who actually believed in that. But there were others in the courts of Addis that preferred the Europeans, of course. So there was this schism there. He also was very much involved with the academic question of the correctness of the chronology of history as presented by the West. And that chronology could not, if you apply straight chronology, a lot of things that the West claims could not be. And so this is what actually led to the Nile Valley School, and ultimately the kind of works that was developed by people like Sheikh Hamza Diop, that really turns everything upside down. And so this whole notion of the arbitrary point of departure for everything, the anno domino of Christ, and so forth, has been shifted. So that was the argument that he gave. Plus the fact that there was quite a lot of man-made political mischief in dividing this solid belief system into different branches. He, of course, was very much involved with the music. And when they were here, the Europeans that came to Ethiopia always had something behind them. They had either a company or a government. And to a large extent, they were subsidized. When the father and the mother came, they had no one behind them. And they had to thrive on their own. And which meant that they had to find work to do and things of that nature. And so they both taught English. Our father taught music, and sometimes they even performed at different clubs to earn some money in that sense. So he was very active in that way. For the most part, he was lecturing young minds in new ways of thinking about the world. That's about the extent that we have of his activities here. And then we have to go back into the Garvey movement, UNA, to find out more about him. Of course, the papers are all lost. A lot of equipment and instruments were lost, so we have to reconstruct a lot of that. And what we're doing is reconstructing it much like the way you're doing it. We're just discovering each other. This is a good example. The kind of work that Rabbi Shlomo is doing, the kind of work that Dr. Abba was doing at Plymouth State University. And here and there, people are beginning to pick up and send me tidbits. I just got, for example, the bit about the history behind the writing of the University of Ethiopian anthem. And the history behind also the red, black, and green. I don't know if you know anything about that. That was, again, your grandfather, Ford, that did that. And that's a very interesting thing. I'll try to figure out everything if I can get my hands on that. So
those were not Marcus Garvey originally, the red, black, and green.
The father developed it for the Garvey movement. So the author or the creator is Arnold Ford.
Arnold Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was a great deal helped and sort of got a lot of that from the lyrics that our father wrote in the Universal Hymnal, Ethiopian Hymnal, and the Ethiopian University Ethiopian anthem as well. In fact, that is what some Rastafarians rallied around, some ex-Garveyites that got together, and they were informed of that. Of course, some of them had their own version of Addis and so forth down the line. So that language is very powerful, and when you do read the lyrics of that, it tells you and shows you how powerful that was. The music, have you heard the music?
No.
I'll try to play that for you. It's incredible. I mean, it's very, very powerful. And so very, very touching. So that's as far as we've gone with our father, and we're continuing to do the research and doing that. For Rabbi Shlomo, the message I have for him is that I'm profoundly grateful for his tenacity. And pursuing this history, diligently and consistently. And he may not believe this, but he is responsible for just the right kind of nudge for me to get more serious about this thing and to look into it, because there are questions that people ask of me that I could not answer, and I need to have those answers. So that he has been very, very important in that sense, and settled a lot of things there, because I would have been living in both places. And I no longer serve as dean, because I did that for 4 years. I'm now merely a consultant to the president's office.
At Howard University?
No, at Addis Abba University.
Addis Abba, okay.
Yeah. I retired from Howard University last year.
Okay.
So here I am now, really carving out the time for myself to do what needs to be done here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Rabbi Paris?
Oh, Rabbi Paris. Rabbi Paris is, of course, my brother. It's hard to, I can, if I see him today and I haven't seen him in 10 years, it's the same Haydn Paris. A very, very comfortable zone individual. When I'm around him, it's a very comfortable zone. Because no matter how the vicissitudes of life, he has that capacity of, sort of pulling it all in. It's been a while since I've seen him. I wish him all the best. I was surprised to hear that he was retired to some extent, and wants his rest to becoming an old man when I'm not retired, so to speak. But
we still try and keep him actively busy.
Keep him active, keep him very busy. Very important person. And shalom, shalom, shalom.
Okay, thank you. It's recording now.
Just to give you an idea, So that was Ethiopia, Land of Our Fathers. Land of Our Fathers, yeah.
Composed by Arnold,
yeah.
Oh, man.
That's too bad, this is not working. Because it really sounds very good on that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank
My pleasure.
You, thank
My
you.
pleasure.